Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from the sustainability department. Well, it's not really a department, but I'm making it a department today.
I love it. This is great.
Phil, welcome back.
Are you my new manager?
No.
Okay.
No. But I'm happy to work with you in your new department and help you out. There is no new department. You officially fall under... Do you fall
under planning and zoning?
Yeah.
More the planning side. I don't really know much about zoning.
Well, that's what we're here to ask you about today. So,
all right, let's bring it on.
The down here in a minute to pull you off like hook, line, and sinker. Like, bye, Phil. You cannot say anything on that.
My role has been in public works. It's been in planning. I kind of work with everybody, so it's a bit of a catch-all.
Yeah,
role.
It's a good thing. Well, we're not here to get your background today and, about your department information, although you can find that at the website at fisherwi.com. See how you always can turn it right back to the website. That's what I do.
He's a pro.
We've got some things here. First, an update to the plans. Unfortunately, there's no updates.
Not much of an update. We're doing a lot of internal work. We're working on getting a contractor put together for the bicycle and pedestrian plan update that we're hoping to complete next spring. We're still doing some internal work between departments on the sustainability plan before we sort of have an implementation plan together to present to council when we bring it to them for a final vote. So those are both in the works, but there's no new major updates since last time we talked.
That's okay. And then the e-bike system.
Yeah, B-Cycle. We have about a month left in B-Cycle. It sort of depends on the weather. It's usually around the second week of December. But B-Cycle will be pulling those bikes from the stations in 5 or 6 weeks or so. So yeah, the B-Cycle system's still out there. Go ahead and rent an e-bike, bike around. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you should check. If you haven't tried it out, with all the stations we have in Fitchburg now, it's pretty easy to get around,
19, I think, stations now.
So, I mean, literally you can pick up and drop, almost everywhere, which is pretty cool. But they're e-bikes, so when you get tired like this guy, just click on the E and just go. Yeah, but that is great. And it was, like, now that the leaves are pretty much down, I mean, it was a fun ride. Now it's a different ride. I mean, you still can have some fun, but it's kind of that fall before winter, like, hey, I can still get it in when the temperatures hit 60, which is pretty much
going to today.
Right yeah. Leaves. So we go into leaf free. We've been talking about it leading up to, what has been, leaf season, so to speak, fall. But just as a reminder, leaves, we want to keep them out of the streets. We want to keep them out of the waterways. And it's super easy to do that.
Yeah. If you've got leaves in front of your house, if you got trees in your lawn, when those leaves fall, just try to keep them out of the street. Whether you're going to bag them up and have them collected, or if you're going to compost them back into your lawn or into your gardens or landscaping, just really try to keep those leaves on your property. We don't want them washing into the waterway where they can decompose and cause problems for the life in there. Another thing you can do through Dane County's Ripple Effects program is you can adopt a storm sewer. This is a really cool way to kind of help on a little bit larger scale. Look at that.
I don't know if anybody's ever seen this, but this has been on my computer for like a year. I did not take this off the storm drain, so let's stop right there before you ask. It did not come off the storm drain, but it's something that you should do.
This is a voluntary program that you can just pick one or multiple storm drains near your house, any place that you frequent. You just sign up. This is a storm drain you've adopted, and a few times during the year, I think you'll get reminders from Ripple Effects. A few times during the year, just go down and make sure the storm drains are clear of debris, leaves, sticks, trash, whatever it is, and then you go online and mark that you cleaned it. It's just another kind of good citizen thing that we can do to help keep our waterways a little bit cleaner.
Absolutely. And also, our sweepers are out at this time. So I'm having you put your public works hat on now from that department. But we don't just clean the streets just because we want to, clean up the sand and dust and everything else. We're actually trying to keep the leaves out of the streets.
Exactly.
Which I think is really cool. And we followed them last year, and it's pretty impressive on just how many leaves they collect. And when you look at those compost piles, oh my gosh.
Oh God, yeah, it's a ton. It's also, let's come full circle, another great benefit of the street sweeping is it helps to keep bike lanes and shoulders clear, so it's easier and safer for biking. And this is another thing, especially if you don't have sidewalks and kind of everything is being blown right into the street where the bikes are going to be. When you keep leaves out of the streets, you're also helping to make the roads a little bit safer for cyclists so that they don't have to veer into lanes of traffic to avoid those leaves and sticks.
Well, they get slippery. I mean,
right now we're kind of in this rain period.
I mean, it just it's terrible. So you just better off getting them cleaned up and doing it. And probably by the time you're watching this, we've already probably had our final yard waste pickup for the season. That's okay. You know, you still got other options to take those. You can bring them down to the public works site. Still, there's a yard waste area there. So if the leaves haven't fallen just quite yet, although based on the rain and wind, they're probably gone. You know,
probably,
or they've been blown onto your lawn. You got one more trip to do.
Yep.
But nevertheless, all right, winter is coming. We're making that hard transition. It's going to get colder out. As you kind of look ahead and prepping the house, this is probably like the perfect time. Maybe you kick the heat on for the first time. Maybe you're like, I'm going to hold out until it really gets cold. But where can we find some good tips on just being ready for the season and get some home energy savings
You
going?
can get some good tips from places like, I believe Focus on Energy's website has some good information. You can look at the Department of Energy. There's a lot of really good nonprofits that have great information. Even something like we celebrated we recognized Energy Efficiency Day in October in Fitchburg, but you can go to the Energy Efficiency Day website and they've got tips for energy efficiency. The big thing with prepping for winter is you want to keep your home as comfortable as possible, but you want to do it without wasting a ton of energy to just crank the heater on. That's not great in terms of efficiency for emissions and keeping our greenhouse gases down. It's also not great for your pocketbook if you're just turning the heater on. So some relatively basic, simple things you can do is you can get your furnace tuned up. Somebody's going to come in, they're going to check your furnace, make sure that it's working optimally. Change your furnace air filter. If you've got a really clogged up air filter, that's going to make your furnace work a lot harder and you're going to get less output from it. If you've got gaps, leaks between doors and windows, you can get that clear film to put over windows, and that'll help to keep you from losing as much heat in those cold days. You can even put towels or blankets under gaps if it's a door that you're not using very often. There's some pretty basic things like that. You get into more costly or time-intensive things, you can get a home energy audit, and a contractor will come in and do a variety of tests to actually identify where your home might be losing heat in the winter or bringing in heat in the summer. And they can give you a list of recommendations for improvements to your home. A lot of those are eligible for Focus on Energy rebates. So that decreases your cost. And certainly when you get those improvements done, it's going to decrease energy bills. So it will pay itself back over time. You can get more efficient heating and cooling equipment installed. Those are all a little bit higher effort and cost. But there's some basic things you can do as well with winter coming to just think about winter-proofing your home a bit better, keep yourself comfortable, and also minimize the money you're wasting on heat going outside.
Yeah, and costs, have been up, and you never know what that's going to look like each year for the rate of heating and cooling your home. So why not take advantage of it? And planning too. I mean, if you put a plan together now, you're prepared for when you have to make those purchases on those big appliances or on replacing windows or whatever that looks like.
And even one of the most simple things, get a really comfy robe or blanket or sweater or Snuggie, whatever you're into. Let your temperature in the home drop just a couple degrees. It makes a huge difference in your energy bills. You can still stay comfortable. I've got a toddler, so I know we don't want to let it get too chilly because when he's sleeping, we don't want the home temperature at 62. But you can play with that a little bit, drop the temperature a little, and just bundle up more inside. You don't need to be in a t-shirt and shorts in winter inside your house. So.
I don't know about that. You could do it at 62.
If you're comfortable with that,
you gotta keep moving. But
there you go.
A good reason to keep you moving too. Just saying.
Do a lot of jumping jacks inside.
Hey, there are a lot.
Stay fit, stay warm.
The transition here. You should check out the website. Phil keeps the Green Fitchburg page up to date, and I'm looking at the resource list here. There's probably 30, 40 different resources on there. The things that he just referenced from different places that you can find through our website at fitchburgwi.gov. I would highly check that out because you got some great resources. They're a good starting spot. And finally, just to wrap up here because we're running out of time, but staying with energy efficient, the state's added over 2,000 energy or clean energy jobs. So what's your interpretation of that? And I think it's great to hear.
Yeah. So in the past year, we got a report from Clean Jobs Midwest. This was just reported on in the last week by Wisconsin Public Radio, that in the past year or so, the state added almost 2,200 jobs in clean energy, and that's manufacturing, installation, design, consulting of renewable energy, of energy efficient appliances and technologies. it's a combination of the market already shifting that way and also a huge investment federally with the Inflation Reduction Act. Resulted in a lot of credits and other financial incentives to boost these markets further. The clean energy industry in Wisconsin actually grew 3 or 4 times the rest of the state's economy. So it's up around 73 or 74,000 jobs in clean energy in the state of Wisconsin right now. This is a really big deal, and we're going to keep seeing that grow. We see it around the nation. We see it around the world that there is an increasing investment in clean energy as everybody's recognizing. One, we just don't want to keep wasting money on this. Like, why would we use 80-year-old technology when we can develop something that's more efficient, more adequate, but also with the increased focus on climate change and trying to minimize our contribution to it. This is going to keep growing, and we're certainly seeing it here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, my first question to you was, does that mean that people are, buying into more on the clean energy stuff? And ultimately, you kind of have to, because that's what's out there. We're making the transition, and I'm not saying whether you like it or not, but it's more affordable. It's more access, and I think by adding the jobs, you get more access, as well. So it's.
I think early on there was an understandable reluctance because the cost was higher, and also we weren't sure about the performance of some clean energy things. We're at a point now where there's been so much development, there's been so much innovation that the cost is now comparable enough, and the performance is just as good or better in a lot of these technologies. There's no reason not to. You could buy something that is cheaper and it's going to last 10 years, or you can buy something that's a little pricier and going to last you 15 and also perform better in the metrics that we really care about.
Well, and that's just it. The metrics are there now.
Right.
Over time, you finally get to learn and see, like, oh, it actually was pretty effective. So, gives you more of an assurance that you're making the right purchase and doing it. Plus competition, too. I think that's always good. They get more making that product. It helps. So, All right, Phil, well, deep dive. We appreciate it. If people want to learn more from the Grupe Fitchburg page, how can they find you, buddy?
I think you already told them, but go to fitchburgwi.gov. Go into the search bar for Green Fitchburg, and it'll pop up as, I believe, the top link on there.
It's pretty awesome. All right, Phil, appreciate the time. We will be talking to you the month of December next.
Oof. It might be cold by then.
Yeah, bring your shovel.
We'll see.
Probably not.